our strategic partners, and will continue to maintain dialogue with these countries, and we'll do our best to, including with other countries of the international community, in the United Nations Security Council, and the United Nations General Assembly. We'll do everything to create an atmosphere that will make this operation impossible.
Is a chilling Russia-Iran pact for global vengeance now out in the open? Days after Lavrov warned the West there would be consequences for attacking Moscow's ally? Are Iran's revenge drones now flying with Russian brains inside them, raising the question of just how deeply Moscow's war machine is plugged into Tehran's retaliation? Did Putin's killer navigation tech guide the very drone that hit a British RAF base on Cyprus, turning a Shahed into a precision weapon courtesy of the Kremlin? Is Moscow now arming Tehran's deadliest proxies with the same hardware tested over Ukraine, this time for strikes on a NATO nation's sovereign territory? Does the discovery of a Kometa-B system inside a Shahed drone reveal a Kremlin plot to turn Iran's cheap weapons against NATO's vulnerable southern flank? Days after Shahed-type drone struck RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus, a new report has dropped a bombshell detail about what was hidden inside its wreckage. The kamikaze drone carried a Russian-made Kometa-B navigation system, according to reporting first highlighted in the Times and local Cypriot media. That same Kometa-B system was reportedly first identified in Russian drones used against Ukraine's air defenses in late 2024. British intelligence teams have rushed the recovered parts back to UK labs to probe exactly how Kremlin-grade hardware ended up on this new front. Officials believe Hezbollah in Lebanon launched the drone, acting as Iran's long-arm proxy while testing Russian-linked tech against a NATO base. This find marks the first known use of identifiable Russian military hardware in the current used at Israel-Iran war theater. The discovery is fueling fresh fears that Russia-Iran military cooperation has moved from theory to hardwired battlefield reality. US and British reports already claim Moscow is feeding Iran targeting intelligence on US ships and aircraft in the region. The Washington Post has described Russian satellite and signals data being used to guide Iranian strikes closer to US assets. UK Chief of the Defence Staff Sir Richard Knighton has warned that tightening Russia-Iran ties are sharply increasing the overall risk of this war. Knighton told The Times that Moscow's support makes Iranian and proxy forces more capable and more dangerous on every front. Sir Richard Knighton said, and I quote, "This is an axis that we need to call out. The cooperation between Iran and Russia makes their forces more capable and more dangerous, and that's why we need to be ready." Adding to the unease, Russia's ambassador to the UK, Andrei Kalin, has openly said Moscow is not neutral in this war and is supportive of Iran. With Gulf tensions rising, Britain now fears further strikes on RAF assets in Cyprus as Russia-aided drones probe its defences. Two Wildcat helicopters that have just arrived on the island already being talked about as potential targets for any follow-up attacks. London is racing to raise readiness so the carrier HMS Prince of Wales can deploy toward the Eastern Med in roughly 5 days if ordered. Defence sources say no final deployment order has been signed, but political and military pressure to act fast is building by the hour, as reported by The Times. Critics have slammed the government for leaden-footed response, arguing London moved too slowly while the war escalated around Cyprus. Prime Minister Keir Starmer took more than 72 hours to send destroyer HMS Dragon, which could still take weeks to fully reach and cover Cyprus. Conservatives are accusing Starmer of sitting on the fence and damaging UK credibility abroad as allies and adversaries watch. The Ministry of Defence insists Britain has been bolstering its posture since January, quietly moving more assets into theatre. Officials point to Typhoon and F-35 jets, upgraded air defences and about 400 extra personnel already stationed in Cyprus as proof of that build-up. 3 US B-1 Lancer bombers have arrived at RAF Fairford in the UK, with long-range missions into the region expected within days. On March 5th, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said he is certain Russia is supplying Iran with arms and drone electronics. Zelensky claims fragments now found in the Middle East show the same Russian components that Ukrainian forces have been pulling from drones for months. Russia has in turn used Iranian-made drones since 2022, launching tens of thousands of one-way attack sorties over Ukraine last year. Now, the same shards and new Russian tech that battered Ukrainian cities are starting to threaten NATO assets around Cyprus and the Eastern Med. In the background, President Trump has vowed certain death for large swathes of Iran if its interim leadership refuses to yield. He has also claimed Iran has surrendered to its neighbors after President Pezeshkian apologized to Gulf states over missile spillover. Pezeshkian has fired back that unconditional surrender is a dream Iran's enemies will bury, insisting Tehran is still fighting on its own terms.
The enemy wants us to be at war with Islamic countries, to create differences between us and other countries. We have said this many times, and the intention and goal of the Supreme Leader has been the same. We must have brotherhood and good relations with our neighboring countries. But what is happening is that they want to attack and violate our land from every country. Naturally, we are forced to respond to them. And responding to what they do does not mean we are fighting that country. It does not mean that, God forbid, we want to upset the people there. We are forced to respond because they attack us. And the more pressure they exert, the greater our ability to respond will naturally be. We have stood against those who attack our country with power, and we will respond with power. Our nation, our people, and certainly our armed forces and all the besiegers who are present in all parts of the country will defend our country with all their might and will disrupt the dream they saw. Our Iran, our country, will not bow down easily against bullying, against injustice, against aggression, and has not bowed down, and there's no way our heroic nation will back down easily against these threats they make. We understand that some believe we have apologized. We are saddened that our dear people are worried about this regional conflict, and we are sorry they are. But those who have attacked us from their soil, we will naturally respond, and we will respond with power. These two are separate. We are friends with countries in the region. They are our brothers. I told them yesterday that we must try to work together and not allow Israel and America to make the countries of the region stand against each other through deception and trickery. Within our country and around our country, there are people who are worried that they have problems with us and with our country. Now, in my opinion, it's not the time for them to go and stand by the policies that America and Israel are designing. If we have disagreements, we should resolve them ourselves. We should not allow them to turn these disagreements towards their nefarious intentions. It will not be possible.